Alright, this is Boxing with the Truth, and I am the Truth. Today is August 9th, 2015, and today we have with us Sergio the Latin Snake Mora. How you doing today?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I appreciate taking time to do the interview. I'm just going to go through a few things in your career so the fans can get caught up, and then we're definitely going to touch on the fight that you just had last weekend with Daniel Jacobs.
You got it.
Alright, so first of all, you are fighting at middleweight, and your pro record is 28 wins, 9 knockouts, 4 losses, 2 draws, right?
Everyone wants to see those 4 losses, but I really just think I have one official loss. Danny Jacobs is a no contest. Those 2 Brian Vera losses were a result of me fighting in Texas versus a Texan. I lost a split decision and a majority decision. Disputable losses. So in my reality, honestly, in my head, I'm even undefeated because the one loss that I do have to Vernon Forrest, I beat him first. So we're 1-1. But that's the way I think in order for me to stay positive, in order for me to stay hungry, motivated, because in reality, it's not that far off the truth. You know, these are some disputable losses, and I can easily make an argument for being unbeaten. You know, really conventionally unbeaten.
And also, I want to apologize because I should have introduced you as a former champion, WBC Super Welterweight World Champion.
That's right. Once a champion, always a champion, John.
So actually, let's take a step back all the way. I want to go back to the beginning. Your amateur record was 40-10, right?
It was about that. See, as an amateur, you really don't count your losses and your wins. You just kind of, you're learning. Every loss is a learning experience. I had about 50 to 52 amateur fights, and I believe I lost between 8 to 10 fights. Yeah, it was something like that.
Okay, so now as an amateur, you become pro. I believe you were like 12-0 when you went on to the Contender, the NBC boxing reality TV show, right?
We skip a big chapter here. I made it all the way to the Olympic trials in 2000. To the finals to make the Olympic team, and I fought Jermain Taylor, who actually ended up winning a bronze medal for the U.S. I lost to him by 3 points to Jermain Taylor in the finals of the 2000 Olympic trials. So that was huge for me because that made me realize I could hang with the best with only 50 fights. You know, these guys in the amateur level making the Olympics usually have hundreds of fights, and they're internationally known. And for me to only have, about 50 fights, to compete with these guys, and not only compete, but almost win and make the Olympic team was a huge, huge way of telling myself and telling everyone else that I've arrived and I can actually do something as a pro. And then that's when I turned pro. And then that's when I realized how political the pro game could be, and how only 2 top promoters were the main ones signing amateur prospects, and the way they go about this this amateur signing a prospect is they offer these ridiculous contracts of 5 years with no money up front, and they say, okay, maybe we'll give you a fight, maybe we'll give you this, and we can promise you. No promises, it's just a bunch of maybes. So I decided not to sign no contracts, and right off the bat I put a sour taste in people's mouths, especially the ones holding the reins, like the promoters and managers. But that's what I did, and I went all the way to 12-0 without a manager and without a promoter, just with my trainer and my team, and going to these small ballroom shows and begging for fights. Sometimes paying my opponent, paying myself. So that's the way I did it. So my hard road to the top doesn't just start with the Contender. That's what people need to dissect when they interview me or when they find out about me. That I'm actually, I almost made the Olympic team. I had it hard from the beginning, and finally the Contender opened up a huge door for me. And okay, now we can talk about the Contender.
No, that's fine. I'm glad that you brought all that up because I want to talk about Jermain Taylor later in the interview too. Also, what I didn't touch on is you were actually raised without a father, and your mom brought you up and a couple of your brothers up by herself. and basically gave you guys everything she could possibly give you. So who were some of your male role models growing up?
Great question. My father, he was a good man, but he's alcoholic, has personal demons, and he wasn't much of a father. But I remember he had a good heart. He left when I was like about 7 or 8, never returned again. My mom raised us in a 1-bedroom apartment. I have 3 brothers, so it's 4 of us total. And on our own, it was kind of tough to juggle, but we didn't realize it at the time. And the male role models in my life was my older brother. You know, it may have not been the best role model because he kicked the shit out of me every second he got, but I guess that's what made me tougher, and the streets, at least LA, made me tougher. And the positive role models that I had in my life came around with teachers. You know, I had some really, really influential teachers in my life, and, you know, I can name them. You know, my first grade teacher, Miss Perry, was maybe the best person that ever came into my life. My 3rd grade teacher, Miss Diaz. My 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Nava, Mr. Ciordia. He's the first male person in my life. Mr. Tarosian in 8th grade. And my friends' fathers were actually great role models. For the few friends that I did have that had their fathers in their life, because most of my friends were pastors as well. So, you know, very few role models. My mother had to play 2 roles there.
Okay, now speaking of your friends though, I heard, now I want to know how true this is, that you actually started boxing based on something that you and your friends put together called BBQ Boxing. Explain that to me.
You can Google that. You can Google it and you can see it. One of my friends put it on YouTube. So all you got to do is YouTube Sergio Mora BBQ Boxing. You're going to see me knock out 3 of my friends in a little rascal type environment in a backyard with no headgear, swap meet gloves, and the ring was a group of people, you know, imitating at the ropes. And it was very dangerous, but that's what we did back then. And it wasn't just our group. We had different sections of East LA doing the same thing. So, you know, it would be like a tournament NCAA racket. Like who gets to the top finally, and then we go to another neighborhood and fight the other neighborhood champ. So I was my neighborhood champ, and I ended up beating other neighborhood champions. And that's how I knew I had a gift for fighting.
Yeah, I don't know how many world champions come out of BBQ Boxing, but you are definitely one of them.
Yep.
So, all right, let's jump back up to the Contender then. So you're 12-0. So you end up on the NBC series, the boxing reality show, the Contender. And I heard a rumor now, and I think it's actually a statement you made, that people don't realize how broke you were when you went on that show. Is that true?
Absolutely. I was 24 years old. I had insufficient funds. I think I was like insufficient $2.89. I remember, because I had no money to go in with. And I remember, funny, I never told this story. You got the exclusive here. I was going to I was going to save it for my memoir. The day before I went on the show, because once you go on the show, they pick you up in a van, and they ask you not to speak to anybody, and they kind of just tell you, shut up, don't say nothing, and they drive you to a secret location. They open the door, and then the cameras start. That's how a reality show works, because they want you to really be surprised. So I had no money in my pocket the day before, so the day before, one of my friends had a barbecue for me, and I asked them all to give me money, and whatever they gave me, I was going to double it after I won the show. So I had some guys give me $20, $40, you know, one guy gave me $100, so that's the only money I had to go on the show. And after the show, you know, I don't think I doubled none of their money back. They were just so excited that I won. But yeah, I was dead broke, man. I was already thinking about quitting boxing and going to college. I wanted to be the first one in my family to graduate college and university. I got my associate's degree, but I wanted to go ahead and get my bachelor's. And yeah, those are my plans, because, you know, boxing, you put all your eggs in one basket, and if nothing comes out of it, you just wasted 10, 15 years of your life, and all you got to show for it are stories and a good right hook. That's not cool.
So now on the show, you fought like Ishe Smith, who's actually, you know, he's done quite a bit with his career. You fought Jesse Brinkley, you fought Peter Manfredo twice. So, did you develop relationships with any of these guys?
Yeah, I have relationships with all three of them. And as a matter of fact, those are the three that ended up doing the most after the show. Ishe Smith won the IDF World title. Jesse Brinkley fought for the IDF World title versus Lucian Butte. He beat Curtis Stevens. He also had another title shot, I believe. Alfonso Gomez fought Miguel Cotto for the world title. He fought Canelo Alvarez. He fought other guys as well. So, you know, I wasn't the only one that did something with that opportunity. And also Peter Manfredo fought Chavez Jr. for the world title. He fought Kazagi for the world title. These guys all came up short, but at least they got an opportunity to fight for a world title, which is something that a lot of boxers don't do.
Now, Brian Vera, he wasn't on the same series as you were, though, right? The same season?
No, he was on the second season. He was on the super middleweight, the heavier guys, the bigger guys, and he got knocked out by the semi-final winner, I believe. I forget his name.
But now you fought him twice, and he was on a Contender season too. So he's done a little bit with his career too. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he went out to fight every big name in the book, coming up short with all of them. And I think the biggest disappointment, where even I had a feel for him, is when he fought Chavez Jr. at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, and he beat Chavez Jr. Everyone thought he beat him. The commentators said that they should have given him the fight. Everyone agreed that that was Vera's moment to shine in the limelight, beating an undefeated Mexican superstar, and they robbed him. They robbed him blank. But, you know, me being the type of person that I am, I couldn't hold grudges, even though they robbed me against him when I fought him in his hometown. Well, now they're just repeating the same thing in L.A., but I didn't like that. It wasn't right. And that was his one time to be in the, you know, bask in the limelight, and they took it away from him. And now he's gotten knocked out, and he's pretty much out of boxing now. You know, he's taking a lot of beatings. You know, that guy's a warrior, man. The hardest chin, hardest head, one of the toughest guys I've ever encountered in boxing in 20 years.
Okay, I want to switch to another pretty tough boxer that you fought, and this is where you won your world title. When you faced Vernon Forrest, I mean, like you said, where you basically came from, you know, a poor area, you know, fighting at barbecues, working your way up the ladder, people kind of doubting your skills, and now you're standing there facing a name in boxing, Vernon Forrest, for a world title. How did that feel to win that world title?
Well, it was just another challenge for me to face, where everyone thought I was going to get killed and beaten. I was a 4-1 underdog. I was 16-1 on the Contender. As an amateur, everyone said I would never make it because I had an ugly style and I would never make it anywhere. So I've been hearing all the criticisms from all the people that think they know. And it just goes to show you, man, nobody knows. It's all inside of what you believe and whatever talent you know that you have. But that talent has to be good enough. You can't just tell yourself, oh, I'm going to become a world champion. No. It's not just about the hunger. It's about the talent as well. And if you have all the hunger and you don't have the talent, then you got something missing. You're going to take a beating. When I fought Vernon Forrest, I was a 4-1 underdog, and everyone, including Vernon Forrest, said that he was going to put me in a hospital and just beat the shit out of me and retire me.
I believe it's...
Even my trainer, I'll be honest with you, even my trainer was very, very nervous for me in that fight, but I pushed that fight. My trainer wanted me to think twice about accepting that fight. One, because he's such a great fighter, 92 Olympian, 4-time world champion, you know, Hall of Famer coming up. But because he had the perfect style to beat me also. At that point, I was so hungry. I was undefeated. I was 21-0. And it was time for me to show the world that I can win a world title. It just, was going to have to be against a great name. And I went in there fully prepared, full of confidence, and I barely won that title, but I won. I beat him.
So I know he talked kind of like you said, he was threatening to he'd send you out on a stretcher. He said he called you a pretender instead of the Contender. And, you know, did you ever have a decent relationship with him, even though you guys fought twice?
No, not at all. And we sparred one time also, and even in sparring, he was not nice to me. Let's just put it that way. I have no nice stories about Vernon Forrest, none.
Okay.
But when he passed away, I heard all the amazing things that he did in his personal life, and it made me view him differently. But as far as me and Vernon, it was strictly business.
Okay, also another fighter I want to bring up, I want to jump ahead. Whatever happened with the Kelly Pavlik fight?
Well, Kelly Pavlik had his personal demons he was fighting outside the ring, and what happened with that fight is they offered me the fight in 2009, and or 2008, I forget. I think it was 2009. He was still a champion. He had just lost his first pro fight versus Bernard Hopkins, but he didn't lose his title. So he was going to drop back down to middleweight, and he challenged me. I trained for 7 weeks, and then on the week before the fight, when we were already going to do the press conferences in Las Vegas, they said that he got a staph infection on his hand, and he couldn't fight, and they canceled the fight a week before that title fight. And it was just the worst news I could possibly get, because I was 100% prepared to beat him, and sure enough, a couple months later, Sergio Martinez beats him and becomes a star. So another Sergio took my glory.
So now I want to know from you, because I've heard different reports on this, and obviously you're going to give me the true answer on this. You supposedly turned down a fight with Jermain Taylor in 2007, right?
Correct.
Okay, what was the reason for that?
It was a team decision. I don't make the decisions myself. I look toward my team that's been with me since the beginning of my career, since I was 16 years old. And it was a team decision, a family decision. I asked the people that care about me, and here's my reason why. I mean, I've said it hundreds of times, and people still don't understand that it's not about the money. They offered me close to $1 million to fight Jermain Taylor, but I was a 8-round, 10-round fighter. I haven't even fought more than one time a 10-rounder. I had only one 10-rounder under my belt, and they expected me to fight the undisputed middleweight champion of the world in a 12-round fight. All the cards were going to be stacked against me. At the best, I was going to lose a close decision. That was the best that I was going to possibly get. So if anyone can really put themselves in my shoe, they're going to go into a fight knowing they're going to lose. And at the best, they're going to lose a decision, a decision that can give him problems, but you're going to lose. And all you're going to do is collect $1 million. When you can collect $1 million in a couple fights outside of Jermain Taylor.
So basically, it was a smart business decision on your part.
It was a business decision, because I knew losing to him on HBO was going to turn off a lot of people. Turn off and probably not give me another shot at the title because of however I lost. But I wasn't going to win that belt. There was no way I was going to win that belt in his hometown, on his home network, with everything against me. So the best thing I was going to do is just have a good performance and lose and collect a big paycheck. No, man, I was undefeated. I don't want no blemishes on my record, and I wanted to become a champion. And sure enough, all I had to do was wait one more year, and I became a champion fighting Vernon Forrest for $500,000.
So now 8 years later, which was just this February 6, 2015, that fight came back up, and you were actually supposed to fight him, but due to his personal issues and things like that, that fight fell through, right?
Correct, yeah. And it was 11 days before we were supposed to fight. So I have a history with middleweight champions. The closer I get to the fight, the more they realize they're in trouble. They should pull out.
Have you ever had any superstitions or rituals that you do before a fight?
Oh, absolutely. Every athlete, not just boxers. Every athlete should. I can say every person that gambles with their life, with their money, everyone that puts their health or anything that's at risk, you're superstitious. Because if you did something and was successful, you're going to try to do exactly the exact same ritual you did to be successful your next time. So, yeah, of course I'm superstitious.
So, all right, now I want to jump up to the Daniel Jacobs fight. You just fought him on TV just this last weekend, August 1st, on Premier Boxing Champions. The first round, obviously, everybody was excited about. I mean, you guys knocked each other down. Everybody basically was on their feet thinking this is going to be a war. This is going to be a great fight. Second round comes. He hits you. You look like you're going down, but then you kind of like you're coming back up. But he leans over the top of you and stumbles, it looks like, and puts weight on you. And then you see your leg pop and you see your facial expression. Or let me correct that. You see your leg bend. And then after the fight, you said you felt something pop. And now we find out in the news reports that you did fracture your ankle and that there's ligament tears, right?
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Well, look, I'm gonna tell you from my perspective. Not from watching the video, not from anyone else's stories. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I saw. Yeah, the first round was very exciting. I didn't see the punch that he hit me with, and those are the worst punches to get hit with. Congratulations, Daniel Jacobs. He caught me with an uppercut. Now I didn't see that uppercut. He dropped me. I got up at the count of 2. It was a flash knockdown. I wasn't hurt, but I had to respect his power. He does have big power. I got up, I moved around a little bit. I knew he was going to come after me, and I knew that as a veteran, I was going to get an opportunity to land a big shot. Now, I didn't know I was going to drop him. I knew I was going to land a big shot to get his respect and back him off me. Well, it just so happened that Daniel Jacobs is known for not being able to take a punch. Well, I guess that's true, because when he came at me, I timed him with a nice left hook, and I dropped him. Now, he didn't get up as fast as I did, and when he did get up, his legs were shaky. The commentator saw it, everyone else saw it, I saw it. So I think at that point I had the advantage, because I went into the fight knowing that he can punch. He didn't go into the fight expecting for me to be able to punch. So the second round was another close round. I thought I was winning the round, and then maybe 10 seconds before the bell was in a ring, I guess he wanted to put pressure on me to steal the round, but he put a little bit too much pressure on me with his body and everything, forced me against the ropes. I slipped. I remember slipping a little bit. It wasn't a big slip. I slipped a little bit, and then I caught my bearings. So right when I was catching my bearings to get up and hold him or punch back, he did throw some punches, so then I had to evade his punches. People said that one landed. I didn't feel it. And on the video, I see a body shot, but I didn't feel it. I was already slipping. My leg bent, and then my foot went under me. And then when he walked over me, he stepped over me. Like, he literally put his leg over my shoulder and stepped over me. Now, my leg was already bent, and it was in a compromising position where I feel it hurting. And when I tried to get up, I couldn't, because he had put his weight down on me. So his pressure just made my ankle, I thought it was my knee, but it was my ankle, pop. And I heard it pop. It literally was a loud pop. I thought it was, I broke it, but later on I realized that ligaments make that noise as well. The orthopedic said that ligaments, when they snap, they pop out loud as well. So I heard the pop, and I knew something was wrong. The referee started counting, like if it was a knockdown. So I'm not just going to stay on the floor and have him count me out. Even though I knew I was injured, I got up at the count of 2, like I always do, 2 or 3. And I told him, I go, something's wrong with my leg. I tried to walk it off, and he was still counting. And he counted to 8, and he said, are you ready to continue? And I said, hold on. And then he said, fight. And then when I seen Daniel Jacobs come at me, I said, hold on, my ankle. And then that's when he said, can you continue? I go, I broke my ankle. And he waved off the fight.
So now, is there any way that you can put in a grievance or an appeal to possibly get a no contest out of that?
Oh, absolutely. I was on that the very next day. The very next morning, I was on the phone with some prominent lawyers in New York. They took a look at the video. Plus, I spoke to a lot of people from the ESPN camera angles, and I got different camera angles on ESPN. I spoke to Joe Tessitore himself and Teddy Atlas. They both agreed. And they had front row seats, and they had access to cameras. And they both agreed that they couldn't see a clean punch land, so therefore the punch didn't drop me. Therefore, it should be a no contest. I have a great case. I have an attorney on it, and I believe the New York Commission will be giving me an appeal this week, and hopefully I'll be getting a no contest out of this decision, because I don't need another unfair loss on my record. I already have 2 other ones in Texas. I don't need another one.
Okay, now let me ask you something. At the end of the fight, you were asked if you wanted a rematch. You said definitely you wanted a rematch. They went over to Daniel Jacobs' corner and asked, and he said, no, I'm not going to give him a rematch. I'm about moving forward. I'm not moving backwards. What do you think of that?
Well, I think he was relieved. I think he was relieved to get out of that fight. He knew how difficult this fight was going to be, how close he was to getting knocked out. I'm a late round fighter. I shine after the 6th round. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Those are my golden rounds. He's not used to that. He's only gone the distance one time in 30 fights. So he wanted that fight to end, especially after that knockdown. And when he can get out of that fight, whether it's injury or a disqualification or whatever it was, what champion celebrates a win like that? What champion does that? Only one that was relieved to escape with a gift like that. So when he says, I don't want to go backwards, how am I going backwards when I'm a former champion? I've never been knocked out. I'm the best name on his resume, and I'm backwards? It just shows the lack of character this kid has, because it's immature and it's classless, and I'm glad that his own hometown fans agree with me, because he's taking a lot of slack on the internet and a lot of slack from people that are actually his fans by the way he reacted in the post-fight interview.
So now he's saying that he basically wants a fight next with Peter Quillin, and I personally think, and I want to hear your opinion on this, don't you think that they should wait for you to heal up, that there should be a rematch, mandatory rematch between the two of you, and the winner gets to face Peter Quillin?
All right, look, you're always going to get the truth out of me, all right? I wear it on my sleeve. I don't agree. I believe business comes first. Jacobs Quillin should happen, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to be out for at least 8 weeks, and that's just to get the brace off. Monday I find out if I need surgery, so I'm going to be off for at least 3 months. I'm not going to have Daniel Jacobs, a young champion, who's probably going to be ready to fight in 3 months. I'm not going to be complaining for him to wait for me. He has a career, he has a family, and he has a mandatory defense, and he has a big $1 million fight with Quillin. I'm not going to prevent that. Quillin's going to beat him. Quillin's going to knock him out. Both these guys have limited abilities. I think they're both very immature in their fighting style. They leave themselves open, but they're both very strong. And I think between both of them, Peter Quillin is even stronger. So just on sheer size, Quillin beats him. But hey, at least Jacob is going to get the fight he wants, get knocked out, and get a big payday. After that fight, I would love to fight the winner of that fight. Yes, I think that would be ideal. If I can come back and have a fight before the year ends, if I can have a fight in November or December, if my leg allows me, and then they can fight, then the winner of their fight, I would love to get a crack at them early next year. So ideally, that's the right business thing to do.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to end the interview. Sergio, I appreciate your time and your honesty with all your answers. And before we end, I would like to give you a chance to say something to your fans and your supporters.
I just want to thank everybody, and I'll be back. That's it.
All right. And with that, the truth has spoken.